Okay, second attempt. How to build a workout. So a lot of you guys asked me, give me a workout or write me a plan or what's the best plan. And I'm not going to do that because it's not helping anybody. Instead, I'm going to outline what are the biggest mistakes people make when writing workouts, and then from there on you can make your own, okay? So the first mistake, and that's very bodybuilding specific, is that people see somebody who's in shape and they're like, I'm doing this. And it's like, what are you thinking? Like, this guy might have another 15 years of training experience over you. He might be on this many drugs, or this program might not even be that great for him, right? I mean, you wouldn't buy a soccer ball and be like, I'm Messi, I'm good to go, okay? So that's the first mistake is like, follow the big dude. And that's how the entire industry operates. It's like, this guy's in great shape, I'm doing X. And that's like, that's not a good idea. Number two is, sounds okay? Yeah, good, okay. Number two is that people don't respect the learning curve. What do I mean by this? So let's assume you are going into a karate dojo and you're like, give me a black belt. They say, well, we give you a white one, and then over the years, if everything goes well, in 10 years you might get a black belt. In bodybuilding, people enter the gym and they're like, I'm good to go, right? But they're actually really bad at exercising. So they need to spend way more time actually learning how to perform the exercise before worrying about some sophisticated workout plan. Okay, so that's that. And then the next mistake is people focus so much on external factors, such as weight and reps and sets and exercises, when the big question really is, what are you doing with all this stuff, right? Because if all the stuff you're doing is garbage, then you're just doing a lot of garbage, right? So that brings me to point 4 is, for any workout, no matter if you go 2 days, 7 days, or whatever, the bottom line is always the rep, right? So the better you can perform a rep, the better everything else will be. And the worse your reps are, well, that's that. And then it's kind of computers, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you do garbage reps, then that's that. And then, so from there on, I would say to people, look, you need to step back. So instead of your traditional, like, this exercise, 3 sets by 12 reps, it's like, what muscle do I want to train? And what does the muscle do, okay? So you want to train your bicep, let's say. Well, the bicep kind of like rotates here, supinates up, and actually finishes like this. So you need exercises that can do all this, meaning a barbell curl ain't gonna cut it, right? You want to train your chest, which does this, then simply doing this also won't do it. So instead of thinking like what exercise, is like, think of what muscle. And then from there on, you're better off thinking in movement patterns, which is very oversimplified. We talked about this: the squat, the hip hinge, the push, and the pull. Meaning you need to squat something. That could be a leg press, a step up, a squat, obviously a cable squat, a lunge. Then there's the hip hinge, which is the deadlift, the banded deadlift, the good morning, the pushes, which is your overhead press, your flies, your tricep press downs, and all that sort of thing. And then the pulls, which is the rows, the lat pull downs, and whatever have you. So these groups, it's like, imagine you have kids, right? And they have Legos, and there's like red Legos and blue Legos and yellow Legos and green Legos. They need to build something out of those Legos, at least use each color twice a week, okay? That brings me to the next point. The traditional workout, which is like this: Monday, chest day; Tuesday, sort of an excuse for back day; Wednesday, a pathetic leg day; and then Thursday, shoulders; and Friday, arms, is completely moronic for many reasons. One, you're having 3 push days, only 1 leg day, and 1 half-assed pull day. Secondly, muscles do not need a week to recoup, right? No matter what you do, protein synthesis stops after 36 hours. So no matter how beast mode you go on Monday on your chest day, by Wednesday, the growth has stopped, okay? So you can train your precious little chest again by Thursday. Because guess what? Most of us don't do anything outside the gym. So there's no need to chill for a week. It's like, oh, my chest really, no. Because if you look at, I don't know, the calves of soccer players or the arms and delts of gymnasts or the lats of swimmers, they don't perform their sport only on Tuesdays, right? They do that 6-7 days a week, and they are better developed than a lot of bodybuilders. So putting it all together, you must fit these movement patterns at least twice a week, okay? Squat, hip hinge, push, pull. Now, here comes the factor time. That's very important. So somebody says to me, look, I want to be a competitive bodybuilder and I have 2 hours a week to train. It's like, I want to sing at the Met, but I can only practice 30 minutes a week. Ain't gonna fly, right? So if you only have 2 hours a week, you're doing 2 full body workouts, okay? The more time you have, you can get more sophisticated in the sense of push-pull legs. There could be horizontal pull, horizontal push, legs, hamstring focused, and then vertical push, vertical pull, legs quad focused, rest, or something like that, right? That of course depends on how much time you're having, right? You can also play around with and group your weak muscle groups with your strong muscle groups. So like, I always train a little bit of arms with my legs, so my legs are actually really good, my arms are not, so I get more volume in. You can train weak muscle groups 3 to 4 times a week, again, because we don't do much else. So that said, now the question is how many exercises per and so on and so forth. Like we said in the first place, find one exercise per muscle group that you can do really well. So for me, it's like cable flies slightly above parallel, right? And I don't care if you do 12 sets of that for your chest. If you can get tension, you're good to go. Then of course you can branch out. But if somebody does 7 exercises of chest and they're all garbage, well, then that doesn't do anything. Next is the strength curve. Here it gets a bit more sophisticated, but most workouts, let's take a step back. What's the strength curve? So each muscle has 3 positions. There's stretched, mid-range, and contracted, right? We mostly train in the mid-range. That's our presses, our pull-downs, our squats, because we're the strongest. The bookends we neglect, but if you train them, everything gets better. So ideally, you're looking at, I don't know, let's say your quads. So you're doing leg press at some point in the week, fine. You got the mid-range covered. Then you could do your leg extensions. By doing so, you have the contraction covered. Good, check. And then something for the stretch. It could be a sissy squat or whatever you please, right? Chest could be squeeze flies, stretch flies, regular press. So to put it all together, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to learn some basic anatomy. You do this once, you'll be set for gains for life, because you're not going to be a blind follower of what somebody says who won the Mr. Tumbleweed in 1987 and is now a bodybuilding expert. If you know the anatomy of a muscle, you're already way ahead of the game, right? So now that you know what this muscle does, you figure out an exercise where you can contract it really well. You put that in. Then you go into your push-pull, squat, hip hinge, and you derive your workout plan from there, okay? Now, I know you all wanted to hear like, oh, do 3 by 10 by that and this by that, but that's just not what I do. I educate people. I don't just regurgitate nonsense that I've written or somebody else has written. It's like, no, I want you guys to be going to the gym and be like, fine, there's this machine, it does the stretch position of the lats, say the pullover, right? Okay, I can use that for that, and so on and so forth. So the more mature and the more educated you are as a gym rat, the better your gains will be, all right?